Hey, it's your boy JB, and so we're gonna do a mock draft here for the 2022 NFL mock draft here. And so we're gonna do the first round for every single team that has a first rounder here in this year's draft. And so I'll do the mock draft here, and I'm not gonna take too much time breaking this one down like I normally do here. I'll just go through the picks here, and I might talk about a couple options that they have to choose from, but ultimately I'll go through here and make this draft here so we can try to not to make this take forever as it normally does here. And so again, that'll be just round one for this one right here. And so let's go ahead and get things started. All right, so first up is the Jacksonville Jaguars. And so obviously with Jacksonville, it's looking like they're going to go the route of taking an edge rusher. And you look at some of the ones at the top board here. There's really three options to choose from here. If you're Jacksonville, Aiden Hutchinson, Kayvon Thibodeaux, and also Trayvon Walker. Now, personally, I think it's between Aiden Hutchinson and Trayvon Walker, but ultimately you can't overthink it. Aiden Hutchinson, he's going to be the pick here for the Jacksonville Jaguars here at number one. All right, so now that the Jaguars take Hutchinson for the Detroit Lions here, I feel like it still comes down to edge for these guys. You know, whether it's going to be Kayvon or is it going to be Trayvon. And so for me personally, I feel like the Detroit Lions personally like Trayvon's potential and his upside in this one. Now, obviously, if Jacksonville ends up taking like Trayvon Walker, then that would lead Hutchinson to go to Detroit there, in which Detroit has been very high on Hutchinson there, but he'll be off the board, I think, when they pick. So Trayvon Walker will be the selection I've got here for the Detroit Lions. Trayvon's stock has been riding. Meanwhile, Kayvon, it'll be interesting to see where exactly he gets taken. I mean, it's a possibility that the Houston Texans could potentially take him. I don't think that happens, though. I have been hearing that, cornerback could be something, a route that Houston could go. I personally think Kyle Hamilton should be in play as well. But ultimately, you got to pay attention to the offensive line here. And so offensive line is where it's at here. Now, the question is, do you like Evan Neal more or do you like Akeem out of North Carolina State here? And so that's what it comes down to here if you're the Houston Texans. Which one do you like more, or do you want to take the route of cornerback and perhaps take Ahmad Gardner if you believe that he's the top cornerback? Now, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to take Evan Neal here. I feel like Evan Neal, I mean, you look at what he did at the college level personally, and you can't do any better than what Evan Neal did down there at Alabama. And plus the competition that he constantly went against on a regular basis as well. Evan Neal takes it right there. There you get someone that's going to come in and protect for Davis Mills or whoever's going to be the future quarterback if Davis Mills doesn't show that he can be that guy this year. But obviously you get a cornerstone in that offensive line. All right, so the Jets are on the clock here. So with the Jets here, there's a couple routes they could take here. I mean, when was the last time that the Jets had an edge rusher like Kayvon Thibodeaux here? I think it's a possibility they could take that route. They could go cornerback as well. And if they go cornerback, I wouldn't be surprised if they took Derek Stingley ahead of Ahmad Gardner here at cornerback for the Jets here. I also think that they could very well go receiver. We know all the trades that they've had in mind in terms of just, trying to get an elite receiver. We'll see if they'll be able to pull that off or not. But for this pick right here, they very well could go cornerback here. And so I'm going to go ahead and for this Jets team, I'm going to go ahead and have the Jets going. They're probably going to go ahead, and this would be a good spot to go edge, though it would. But I'm going to have them go ahead and take a cornerback. Now, it's just a matter of, do we go Gardner here or do we go Derek Stingley here? Do they really believe in his potential that much that they would bypass Gardner, who is going to be a great player here? I think the Jets are a team that loves to think about the potential there. So Derek Stingley to the Jets, guys. And so that would be an interesting selection right there, no doubt about that. All right, so we got the Giants on the board, and so they're going to be picking two of the next three picks here. And so for the New York Giants here, I have them going. They could go, offensive lineman here. They very well. And so I think if you're the Giants, I mean, you gotta protect Daniel Jones, because if he's going to show anything, you've got to make sure that you have that core offensive lineman there to help that and also improve the run game as well. And so I think that it's a good time for Akeem to come off the board here for the Giants. All right, so now that the Giants have made their pick here, we're going to go with the Carolina Panthers here. So Carolina is where things get very interesting right now. I mean, obviously, who wants to stick Sam Darnold out there at quarterback? Not me. And so for Carolina, you could very well go quarterback in this route here, but who do you take? I mean, Malik Willis, if you drop Malik Willis, I mean, there's no guarantee the coach is going to be able to survive long enough for Malik Willis to reach his true potential here. And I also feel like, I mean, if you're Carolina, I mean, do you take Kenny Pickett maybe at quarterback? And so let's take a look at some of the quarterbacks here on the board. Do you go Kenny Pickett here, or do you just go all out and do you go Malik Willis? I mean, if you want a quarterback that's going to play year one, Kenny Pickett would be the option here to take, I feel. And so, and I really feel like it comes down to those two right there. Do you go quarterback or do you go Malik Willis? Malik Willis, more of a project that I feel is going to be 2-3 years down the road here. Carolina has a massive need at the quarterback position right now. And so unless a trade happens here, I think they go ahead and they will end up taking a quarterback here. And so we're going to go ahead and go Kenny Pickett. Yeah, Kenny Pickett out of Pittsburgh. Ends up being the first quarterback taken, quite frankly, because he's going to come out ready year one. If Carolina goes Malik Willis here, some people are going to get fired before this man goes out there. All right, for the Giants here in their second selection. So for the New York Giants here, with their second selection here. All right, so this is where my man slide down. I mean, at the beginning, when we first started talking about the prospects, Kayvon was the number 2, player, but he slid down some boards here. They still have him 2 on this one. I think this is where, you go ahead and take him here for the Giants. I mean, you could go ahead and take him with the 5th pick as well. But yeah, Kayvon going to the Giants either at pick 5 or 6. Now just move it up there. That's a route that you could see taken right there. But that'd be a great addition right there for the Giants. You know how they love those defensive ends. And so, I mean, my goodness, that would be great right there for them. So, all right, but we got the Atlanta Falcons here on the board. And so the Falcons, I believe if Derek Stingley was still on the board for the Falcons, that would have been a pick that they probably would have looked at heavily here. I came out of North Carolina, would have been a great option as well. But, I mean, offensive line is something that you definitely are going to need to fix here if you are the Atlanta Falcons here. Going offensive line would definitely be the route to go. I mean, could they go quarterback here? I mean, they certainly need a quarterback of the future here, but I don't think they do that. I don't think they take that route right now. I think they're going to go ahead and they're going to draft an offensive lineman this year. And so, I mean, you could go Garrett Wilson now. You could go Garrett Wilson because they do need a wide receiver badly. So you could take that route right there. But I think ultimately they go offensive lineman right here for the Falcons and just work on that offensive line right there. All right. They could have went wide receiver now, and so I would not be surprised if they go wide receiver. All right, here, the Seattle Seahawks here. So for the Seahawks here, there's a couple options that the Seahawks could take here. I mean, do they take their quarterback of the future right here? If they believe in him, then they really should. Or I could see them taking Jermaine Johnson here at the edge out of Florida State, who has seen his stock just constantly rise here. So they could take that route. They could go offensive line as well, but I feel like given where the board is at right now, Trevor Penning right there at the number 9 spot, I think ultimately I don't think that they take a quarterback in the first round because I feel like they can get one in round 2, honestly. So we'll eliminate that and we'll go ahead and take Jermaine Johnson here at the edge. All right, so back to the Jets. And so with the Jets here, obviously the Jets have a huge, for me, at this pick right here, there's 2 guys they're thinking about right now. You're either going Garrett Wilson right here or you're going Kyle Hamilton. I mean, if you like Drake London the best, then you probably can take that route as well. But personally, I think it's Garrett Wilson here, and they would love this pick right here to pair him up with Zach Wilson. That's what you want right there if you're Zach. And so Garrett Wilson, he'd provide that deep threat there, and he's a top-tier wide receiver. No doubt about that. The Jets would certainly love to have him. Again, they're going to continue to be aggressive and try to get a veteran via free agency, via trade or something like that, it seems. We'll see if Deebo Samuel ends up being the guy that they end up acquiring. But if not, Garrett Wilson right there makes a good pick. All right, so now for Washington on the clock. With Washington on the clock, I have to think that a wide receiver would make a lot of sense here for this team. And so a couple options here. Do you go Drake London here? Do you go Jameson Williams? I feel like for them personally that you either go Jameson Williams or you go Chris Olave. One of the 2 you end up taking. Now, it depends, obviously, with all the injuries and stuff like that. But I think Chris Olave would be a great fit for Washington. However, I mean, Jameson Williams, that potential that he comes with, that's just one of those, like, wow situations. So I think Washington takes him. And so you put him aside, Scary Terry out there, and so that's going to give Carson Wentz the best opportunity to go out there and let's see if there's anything that's left. I mean, but I could have very well have gone Chris Olave as well. It just depends on how comfortable are they with Jameson Williams recovering from his injury. And so if they're comfortable with that, that's the pick right there for Washington. All right, so now we've got the Minnesota Vikings on the board here. And so as for the Vikings, they could very well go cornerback here. Now, obviously, let's go back to all the available players here. Ahmad Gardner would be a great pick here for them, and I think that's going to be the pick here for them. Now, if Derek Stingley's on the board, go Derek Stingley. But right now, cornerback, Ahmad Gardner, that's a great pick as well for the Minnesota Vikings here. At 13 for the Houston Texans. And so, obviously, Houston already had another pick there. And the fact that we still have Kyle Hamilton on the board right there, guys, yeah, go ahead and take him now for the Houston Texans. And so that's going to be a steal. If they get him at 13, guys, that's a steal. He's a top 10 player. It's just how the board played out right now. I mean, possibly, maybe Seattle could have tried right there. There's a couple places that he really could have fit in at early on this board here. But if he slides down here to 13, expect the Houston Texans to go ahead and take him. All right, so we've got the Baltimore Ravens here on the board. And so when I think Baltimore, I think defense, honestly. And so now, offensive line would make a lot of sense here. They could take Trevor Penning here. They could take Trevor Penning here for the Baltimore Ravens. And so I feel like it's either going to be him or they could take Jordan Love potentially as well. They could go defensive end also. They could very well go defensive end as well. We'll go edge with George Kalafis. I mean, that would be a good pick here for the Ravens as well. But I think, given everything right now, I think that for the Baltimore Ravens here, you really want to make sure you get that offensive line secure so that way Lamar Jackson, he'll have some time to go out there and utilize his legs. Just have some time out there. And so I feel offensive line would be a great move here for them. And so Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa is going to be the pick here for the Baltimore Ravens. All right, we've got the Eagles here now on the board. And so obviously Philadelphia here, they're going to give Jalen Hurts the opportunity to show that he is that guy. And so for a team like the Eagles, first thing that comes to mind here is going to be, they very well could go wide receiver. But, I mean, I would not be surprised here if the Eagles actually end up being a team to take Jordan Davis. If the Baltimore Ravens pass on him and go in favor of offensive line there, I would not be surprised if the Eagles take Jordan Davis. So I'm going to go ahead and take good old Jordan Davis to the Eagles with the 15th pick, which would be a great pick right there for the Eagles. I mean, he was a monster last year. And so, thinking about life, without Fletcher Cox down there for the Eagles, this will make you feel so much better if you're an Eagles fan. All right, now the Saints are on the board. Now the Saints, hey, wide receiver, that's got to be the pick you got to think. And so, I mean, they could potentially go quarterback here. With Malik Willis, but let's not kid ourselves here. You get a guy like Drake London, that's going to change lives for you. So I got Drake London being taken here by the Saints. All right, so we got the Chargers here at 17 on the clock. And so as for the Chargers here, let's see. For the Chargers, I have them taking, let's see. I mean, they could very well, they did acquire. So for them right here, I'm thinking that the Chargers could very well end up taking, let's see, I got to think about this for the Chargers. All right, so for the Chargers. All right, so I was going to go offensive tackle here, but since that's off the board there, I'm between going edge here with George Kalafis, which probably would be this would opposite side of Joey Bosa. That would be really nice right there if he goes opposite side of Joey Bosa, obviously. And so we might take that route right there. Let's look at the edge real quick. We could go him or Dave. Yeah, let's go ahead and go George here for. So yeah, that would be a nice pickup there for the Chargers right there if that were to happen for him. So got George going there. All right, so the Eagles here with their second pick. So, obviously for the Eagles, right now I'm thinking wide receiver is what I'm thinking. And so it's just a matter of do you go Chris Olave or do you go Treylon Burks? And so I think right now, if you're the Eagles, if you get a big body receiver like Trey Burks and stuff like that, Treylon Burks, that would be nice right there for the Eagles. I could very well see that being the case for them, honestly. So I think, I know Chris Olave is on the board right now. I know he's on the board right now. He'd be a great fit. I honestly would have had him going to Washington early on up there, but Jameson Williams ended up being the pick right there. And so Chris Olave to the Eagles. You know what? I like it. I do like it. It's just a matter of who you prefer, Olave or Burks. And so, I mean, but Burks just, I I think I like this one right here for the Eagles to go Traylon Burks. And so he gets taken by the Eagles right here. All right. So now that that has been accomplished there. So for the Saints in their second pick here, I'm going to go ahead and have the Saints. I mean, we got the Steelers coming up on the board here. So the Steelers, they're looking at a quarterback here. So because if Malika doesn't go here at 19, then I think he certainly goes at 20. And so for the Saints here, I could go quarterback. However, I believe they're going to go ahead and allow for a guy like Jameis Winston to get at least one more year here. Now if you're doing offensive tackle, that'd be too much of a reach here. And so I feel like, let's see who's on the D-line here. I mean, we could go D-line with Devontae Wright here if the Saints are okay with drafting him at this spot, as opposed to going Malik Willis here. So I think that they'll go ahead and they'll take Devontae Wyatt here. And so, all right. So there, I mean, if you're the Saints, you got your receiver in Drake London, and then you went out there on the defensive line and got Devontae Wyatt. Now, I would have went offensive line there if the offensive tackle was a little bit, higher in terms of like the rankings and stuff here, but in terms of first round. So that's why we went that route instead there. But still, great way to continue to improve the defense. All right. Let's go to the Steelers here. Now, for the Steelers, it's pretty simple. You draft your quarterback of the future right here in Malik Willis. And so for Malik Willis, I feel like personally, this is me personally, I feel like if he either goes to the Saints or if he goes to the Steelers, one of those two organizations, that's the perfect place for him. Now, obviously, the Steelers did acquire Mitchell Trubisky. So we'll get to see, if you guys want to see Mitchell Trubisky go out there and play, for a season and all like that, or how many games he can play before they decide enough is enough, then yeah, that'll be the case. But this will allow Malik Willis to go ahead and continue to just continue to learn the playbook, I should say, and then get acclimated to the speed of the NFL. And then when he's ready, you go ahead and make that switch. And so here the Steelers get their quarterback of the future. All right. So next up are the New England Patriots. And so for me, for the Patriots here, we saw how that defense looked the last time we saw them out there. It's just a matter of, do they go Devin Lloyd or do they go Nakobe Dean? It just depends on whoever you like best. But Devin Lloyd can be used, as an outsider inside in a 3-4 linebacker or at the linebacker in 4-3. He's an athletic defender. And so, he's got pass rush ability, coverage skills. I like Nakobe Dean a lot. I really do. However, if Devin Lloyd is on that board right there, Devin Lloyd will end up being the pick for the Patriots right there. So Devin Lloyd comes off the board for the Patriots. All right. I'll try to speed things up a little bit quicker here. Now for the Packers here, obviously we all know wide receiver is what they need. And so now we know that they're reluctant to draft wide receivers, but hey, in this situation right here, Chris Olave falls in your lap. And if you are the Packers, you are jumping up and down here because you just got Chris Olave. All right. Next up is the Arizona Cardinals here. So the Cardinals here, we could be looking potentially edge here. And so I think a guy like David Ojabo, this is potentially a route that you could take here. Let's see who's on the board here at receiver. I mean, there's a couple. I mean, do you want to go that route there? Probably. I probably would go. Let's see who's there at the guard spot. So now we do have a good opportunity here to get a good guard here, whether you like Zion Johnson here or Tyler Leonard. I think Zion Johnson would probably be the pick here for the Arizona Cardinals. And so you can go him, you can go Kenyon Green, but I feel like those two would be one of the picks here. So I went Zion Johnson here for the Arizona Cardinals. All right, Dallas Cowboys here on the board. And so this is one that I'm going to be definitely interested in seeing what player they take. And so for them, I think that they take the route of they can go Kenyon Green. So I'm leaning Kenyon Green here. I know the Cowboys are potentially thinking about trading up. If Jameson Williams somehow is on the board here, I think they would definitely take him. So I'm going to go ahead and go Kenyon Green for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I do like Nakobe Dean in this situation as well, potentially for the Dallas Cowboys here, but I'm going to go ahead and rank offensive line a little bit higher right now in terms of priority here for the Cowboys than taking that route. Again, the Cowboys, they're going to be aggressive and go for a star, so that probably is not going to pan out that way. All right, so we got the Buffalo Bills here coming up with this one. So as for the Buffalo Bills, they need a cornerback. And so luckily for them, you've got Trent McDuffie here. You've also got Andrew Booth Jr. And so I'm going to go ahead and go Trent McDuffie in this situation here for the – well, I mean, I think Trent McDuffie's the better cornerback here, but yeah, we'll go Trent McDuffie here. All right, so in that case, Buffalo gets their cornerback. Now, I think Trent could potentially be off the board there, one of the earlier picks. And so with that in mind, Buffalo would be able to get either him or Andrew Booth Jr. All right, for the Tennessee Titans here, Tennessee, they need a receiver. They can use a receiver because, I mean, Robert Woods, if Robert Woods return, coming off that torn ACL here, that's going to be tough there. I mean, they could go offensive line as well. But do they take Jahan Dotson here, or perhaps they take a different route, maybe Christian Watson? And so, but I do think that wide receiver gets some consideration here for the Tennessee Titans at this point. Just a matter of, do they take that route there? So I'm going to look here, and I'm going to also look at the interior alignment. Do they go Tyler Lennon? I don't think that Tyler's going to be the pick here for the Tennessee Titans. So with that being said, I think they go wide receiver here, but I don't think they go the direction. You know what? A guy like Dotson, though, probably not for the Tennessee Titans here. So I think he gets overlooked in this case for Christian Watson out of North Dakota State here. So I know that's a bit of a surprise right there, but Tennessee needs a receiver there, and I certainly don't think that they're going to end up taking quarterback. And given that the guards that I had them potentially taking are off the board there, Christian Watson would be the pick there for the Tennessee Titans. All right, so next up, Tampa Bay. And so at Tampa Bay, I think that now would be a good time for the Buccaneers to go ahead and get I'm thinking offensive line could very well be that pick right there personally. But let's see. I mean, you have a chance here to get a guy like Jahan Dotson. Obviously, we know how things played out, with AB and stuff like that. And, Tampa Bay's always trying to recruit a wide receiver here. So I think Dotson gets taken here by the Buccaneers. So that'd be a great pick for him in that situation. All right, so Green Bay again in the first round here. And so with Green Bay's second first-round pick here, let us see who is out there at linebacker. So Green Bay could take Nakobe Dean right here. The more I think about it, the more I like it for the Green Bay Packers here. They could take that route here. And let's see, who else do we have available? I mean, could Logan Hall be the pick there? Yeah, so I'm thinking that, let me just check my board that I have here for them. All right, so given the fact that, Green Bay, they could double dip at receiver, but just the only problem is, though, I don't think that it'll be Pickens in the first round there. So with that being said, I would have to say that it's not going to be a wide receiver here, just based upon how this is going. And then, all right, so we'll go David Ojabo is what we'll go here for the Green Bay Packers. I thought about going Nakobe Dean. I really did, but I think that they'll go edge here first over that. And so, all right, so for the Kansas City Chiefs here now, obviously for Kansas City and stuff like that, I was going to go wide receiver, and we can look at the board again, but will they really go Pickens here in the first round? I can't say that they would here, so I think under this scenario, let me just see what our options I have here. Maybe a guy like Sky Moore might potentially be that pick for them. They could go Pickens here as well. The need for wide receiver is certainly there, so they're probably going to have to reach here at wide receiver. But if you like your guy, you like your guy. So I will go ahead and say, yeah, so we'll go ahead. And matter of fact, now that I think about it, let me just make sure that we look and see who's on the board at cornerback here. And so, all right, so yeah, here at cornerback, we've got some great options to choose from. So with this pick right here, Andrew Booth Jr., we'll go ahead and take him going to Kansas City Chiefs there. And so yeah, can't forget about these. I know receiver is certainly something that they would have to get, but in this scenario, you go ahead and take that cornerback on the board right there. And so, all right, so let's see what else we have here. All right, so we could go D-line here, but I mean, do we reach here for, and is it going to be Pickens? Is it going to be Sky Moore here out of Western Michigan? Those are the questions that we have here, because given the receivers that are left on the board right now, which route do we take? Or will they just go ahead and maybe take best player on the board right now? And let's see. You know, for Kansas City here, a guy like Tyler would be great. And you just took. Perhaps they really end up working on this secondary here. So, I mean, again, based upon the boards going right there, a wide receiver is certainly something that they would need, but maybe you'd have to get that at another time, because based upon the board is right now, unless you're in love with Pickens for the Kansas City Chiefs here, in which I'm not too in love with that. So I will go ahead and take a safety here in Dexton Hill. And so that's going to be the pick that we have here. So I had Kansas City Chiefs taking 2 members of the secondary here. And so just quite frankly, the receivers that were left on the board here, I mean, at this point, receivers just went off in a premium here. So maybe later on in this draft, well, definitely later on in this draft, the Chiefs will be able to acquire a receiver. All right, so next up, Cincinnati Bengals here. So for this Bengals team here, we are going to go ahead and take Tyler Lindenham here. I mean, there's so many things that he can play on the offensive line here, and so he would be great for the Cincinnati Bengals here if he fell this far down on the board. All right, so let's see. Now for the Detroit Lions here. So for Detroit, do they go ahead and reach and try to get their quarterback of the future here? That is going to be the question here. Or will they perhaps take I think in this role right here, given the fact that Nakobe Dean is still on the board, and just looking at the board here, he's the best player on the board here. They could go quarterback, but they can very well get one in the next round as well. So I say draft Nakobe Dean. And so, yeah, there you go. So, yeah, guys, just to recap my mock draft there. So the Jacksonville Jaguars, you know, Aiden Hutchinson, no surprise there. Detroit, Trayvon Walker, Evan Neal for Houston, Derek Stingley Jr. for the Jets. You know, so I mean, the Giants, they went offensive tackle. Had Kenny Pickett being the first quarterback taken here. Despite the hype that comes with Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett's more ready now, and Carolina needs to win now, and they need a quarterback to step in right now. The Giants, Kayvon, and then you've got Atlanta went offensive tackle here. Seahawks took Jermaine Johnson. I've seen him climb up for like that second round status to being considered potentially a top 15, top 10 pick. Garrett Wilson to the Jets, Jameson Williams to Washington, Ahmad Gardner to the Vikings, Kyle Hamilton to the Texans, Trevor Penning to the Baltimore Ravens, and then Jordan Davis going to the Eagles, Drake London going to the Saints, and so forth, guys. You know, George Kalafis to the Chargers, Traylon Burks to the Eagles, Devontae Wyatt to the Saints, Malik Willis to the Steelers, Devin Lloyd to the Pats, Chris Olave, Green Bay, Zion Johnson, Cardinals, Kenyon Green to the Cowboys. You can either swap those two, I feel like, as well, but either one, whichever order they value more. Trent McDuffie to Buffalo, Christian Watson to the Titans, John Dotson there to the Buccaneers, then David Ajabo to Green Bay, Andrew Booth Jr. here to Kansas City, along with Dexton Hill. So they got a corner and a safety there to help that secondary. Tyler Lindenham, which is a great, solid pick right there for the Cincinnati Bengals right there. Very solid pick. And then Detroit, Nakobe Dean. But, hey, I want to hear from you guys. You know, which picks did you like? And obviously, which picks, you know, could have been different or did you not like and stuff like that. But I want to hear both, and I want to hear from you guys. And, hey, leave me a grade here as well. You know, my first recent mock draft for all of these, you know, teams here. So let me know your thoughts here. But let me – and it was along with also the order of the quarterbacks that I went as well, with Kenny Pickett going off the board first to Carolina. But, hey, let me know your thoughts here. And remember to make sure you leave a like and also subscribe to the channel as well if you're not subscribed already. But with that being said, thank you guys so much. And, hey, see you guys next video.